Arthur never thought his shift in Tower 3 would be his last normal day on Earth. High above the canopy of Ashbury National Forest, he had a perfect view, 360 degrees of endless trees stretching to the horizon. It was supposed to be routine, boring even. The kind of shift where the biggest threat was Charles's terrible jokes crackling through the two-way radio. Charles was the oldest ranger on the team, yet somehow the least mature. And right on cue, his voice broke the silence. "Arthur, can you even see anything up there?" It was his favorite dumb joke. Arthur had heard it 100 times before. "Arthur," he pressed the button and replied with practiced patience, "Yes, vision is clear. No smoke, no fires, no adverse weather conditions. Everything was fine. Everything was normal." But that wouldn't last. The banter continued for a while, Charles complaining about campsite duty, and Gwen, another ranger stationed 20 miles northwest in Tower 5, scolding them for clogging up the emergency channels. It was the usual rhythm of a quiet day in the forest. Arthur leaned back with his book, a pulp horror novelization of The Blob. The irony of that choice wouldn't hit him until later. About an hour in, Gwen's voice returned, tense this time. "Hey Arthur, you get any emergency calls in the last 10 minutes? He hadn't. She explained that her cabin radio had started acting up. First static, then something else. Something that sounded almost musical.
"It was like a kid's piano playing Mary Had a Little Lamb," she said. It repeated a few times, then went silent. Arthur tried to explain it. Radio interference, maybe. A signal bleed. But Gwen wasn't one to spook easily. She was sharp, methodical, the kind of ranger who could tell the weather by smell. If something felt wrong to her, it usually was. Still, he told her to record it if it happened again, then went back to his book. He shouldn't have. Minutes later, the radio came alive again. Not Gwen this time, just garbled electronic noise and flickering lights. Arthur grabbed the mic. "Sandy 3, come back." Nothing but static. 2 full minutes passed before he gave up and sat back down. Then Gwen's voice returned, uneasy. "Arthur, do you see something in the sky?" "North, northwest." He moved to the window, shielding his eyes. At first, nothing but blue sky and endless trees. But Gwen insisted. She'd heard something whoosh over her tower, and now, far out, the sun was reflecting off something silver, hovering in the distance. Arthur suggested it might be a helicopter, maybe the fire brigade doing a test run. Gwen checked the schedule. Nothing listed. She tried raising them on the radio. No response. A chill crept through him. The fire brigade always answered. That was protocol. That was survival. He tried every frequency he could. Silence. And then Gwen said, "Arthur, this thing is just hovering. Not moving. Not leaving. Just watching." He finally spotted it through his binoculars. A faint glint of silver against the sky. Barely visible, but there. Gwen's voice trembled. "It's dropping." A controlled descent, fast, deliberate. Then, it vanished behind the tree line. Both of them tried their phones. No signal. Not even roaming. Just dead air. As if the towers had been erased. Then the radio came alive again. First clicks, then that same eerie tune, "Mary Had a Little Lamb," but distorted, played in mechanical growls, like something was learning it. And then a voice, calm, robotic.
777 Alpha Omega 6. Unknown, unknown, unknown. 777 Alpha Omega 6. Unknown, unknown, unknown.
The message looped over and over. "Are you hearing this?" Gwen whispered. Arthur was, and he didn't know what it meant. It sounded like a number station, those Cold War relics used for coded messages. But this felt different. This felt like a warning. And then the ground began to shake. The earthquake hit without warning, a low, rolling rumble that rattled the entire tower. Arthur grabbed the table as the cabin rocked violently. 30 seconds, that's all it lasted. But it was enough. "A Jesus Christ," Gwen gasped. "I think something in the tower just snapped." Before Arthur could respond, he saw it. A mile out, the trees moving in a perfect circle, like a shockwave rippling outward. And it was spreading, fast. He barely had time to duck before the blast hit. The northern window exploded inward, glass slicing his arm. He tore off his sleeve, wrapped the wounds, blood soaking through. When he finally looked out, the wave was still moving, heading straight for the campsites. Straight for Charles. He tried the radio. "Gwen, you okay?" No response. "Gwen, please come back." Silence. Then Charles's voice broke through, panicked. "What the hell was that?" Arthur explained. The hovering object, the blast, the message. That's when Arthur saw it. A thin ribbon of smoke on the northern horizon. But it wasn't smoke. It spread too fast, too evenly. Like a living fog crawling across the land, swallowing trees and shadow alike. The cabin radio clicked again, a cold and bureaucratic. A pre-recorded voice from the Secretary of Agriculture.
"Rangers, this is a code black warning. Please remain in place and do not interfere with any military officials who may arrive on scene. Anyone found fleeing will be considered hostile."
Code black. Arthur had never heard that term before. Neither had Charles, but they both knew what it meant. Something catastrophic had happened. And they were trapped. Charles's truck roared down the mountain toward Gwen's tower, disappearing into the trees. Arthur could only watch as the fog advanced, mile by mile. Then Gwen's voice came through, soft and trembling. "Sandy 3? This is Sandy 5. You copy?" "Gwen, are you okay? What's going on?" "Arthur, I can't say much. They may hear me." "Who?" he asked. "The creatures in the fog." The words froze him. Creatures. Gwen explained. They were everywhere, multiplying, surrounding her tower. She could hear them at the base, clicking and growling, communicating. Arthur wanted to scream at her to run, to hide, to do anything, but he didn't dare make a sound. Her breathing grew ragged. Then he heard it too. Clicks and growls, dozens of them, overlapping. "Jesus," she said. "I think I hear one on the stairs." "Lock the door, Gwen. Please tell me you locked the door." But she couldn't hear him. Her voice came one last time, shaky but trying to be brave. "Arthur, thank you for always being nice to me. Tell Charles the same. Dumb jokes and all. I'm scared, Arthur. I don't think these things are from..." He called her name again and again. Nothing. The line was dead. Arthur stumbled onto the catwalk, staring at the oncoming fog. It was closer now, and he could see it move, like it had purpose. Charles was somewhere out there, driving straight into it. That man had a family. Arthur locked the catwalk door, barricaded the windows, loaded his handgun, and looked south, toward the still clear horizon. The forest remained beautiful, peaceful. For now, he didn't know what was coming, didn't know if help would ever arrive. But as last the fog rolled closer, filled with things that clicked and hunted and whispered through static, Arthur understood one terrible truth. Whatever had landed in that forest wasn't from this world, and it was coming for him next.
My neighbor is one of those annoying wannabe YouTube personalities. Over the years, I've seen him cough out cinnamon, lay flat on the hood of his car as it slowly creeps down the driveway, douse himself in lukewarm water. It gets tiring. Honestly, it was a relief when he said he'd be gone for a few weeks. I can't even explain the peace of mind I had, knowing I didn't have to brace myself for his stupidity for a while. I was always afraid one of his stunts would bleed over into my life. Things were pretty normal for the first couple of days. Then, one evening when I got home, I saw a box sitting on his porch. Big, beaten up, "Return to sender," written in angry red letters. I'm no small fry, but I admit I had trouble lifting the box on my own. It was really freaking heavy. I dragged it across the street into my garage. The garage door's a piece of junk. It won't open unless you thud it, then whack it again for good measure. Third kick, my grip slipped. The box fell, and I heard something crack inside. Shit. I figured I just wouldn't tell my neighbor about it. Let him assume it broke in transit. And then I forgot all about it. I'm not sure how long it took before the smell started. It was this sickly, sweet odor, like a skunk. At first, I figured it was roadkill, but it kept getting worse every day. It was only when I realized the scent was growing stronger instead of fading that I went looking for the source. The smell led me straight to the garage. The moment I opened that door, the odor knocked me back. The culprit wasn't hard to identify. The box was stained at the bottom. Something dark was seeping out. I remember thinking, maybe it was one of those meat subscription boxes. An entire freaking cow? So I put on gloves, a mask, grabbed some scissors, cut through the tape. The second I opened the flaps, the smell hit me like a wave of heat. Flies exploded out. I almost threw up right there. It was like opening a burning oven, but instead of heat, it was waves of piss, sweat, shit, and rot. Even after showering 3 times, the smell wouldn't go away. It clung to me. It clung to everything. Eventually, I decided to finish the job. I walked back into the garage, suited up, clothespin, gloves, cleaner. But as it turns out, I didn't need any of it. Because when I looked inside that box, there was meat in there. But it didn't come from a cow. It was my neighbor. There was his face, bloated, gray, eyes open, and in his stiff hand, his camera. I called the cops. Naturally, they took me in. They made me watch the footage from his camera.
All right, guys, you're not going to believe what I'm about to do.
That's what he said at the start. He was grinning, sitting inside that same box, surrounded by snacks, bottles, flashlights. I'm gonna mail myself across state lines. This is gonna be epic. His friend closed the lid, wrote "Return to sender" on the top. Hours passed. He filmed updates, still excited at first, then less so. He said he felt the box moving, then stopping, then heat. The last clip showed him tired, sweaty, then sudden motion. The camera tumbled. There was a crash and a crack. The camera landed sideways. He wasn't moving, neck bent wrong. And then I heard it, that sound, the screech, the sound of my garage door. There's one thing I didn't tell the police. One thing I heard in that footage that'll haunt me forever. Right after the tumble that broke his neck, I heard my garage door open. Now, every night, I hear it again. That screech. That same horrible metallic scream. Sometimes I swear I hear a whisper under it.